The big meeting room fell silent as Jae-ho Kim walked in. His black uniform fit his tall body well. The 3 silver stars on his collar showed everyone he was important. Jae-ho looked around the room at the mix of humans and aliens. The humans stood straight and ready. The aliens, with their blue glowing skin, stayed on the other side of the room. "Captain Kim, welcome," said General Park. "These are our new allies, the Taylori." Jae-ho nodded at the aliens. Just 5 years ago, humans were alone in the universe. Now they worked with many alien groups in something called the Galactic Alliance. Earth had proven itself when it won a short war at the edge of its space. Now aliens respected humans, even if they didn't fully trust them. The tallest Taylori stepped forward. "I am Chief Science Officer Mok. We are here to work together against our common enemy." His skin glowed brighter as he spoke. Jae-ho noticed a smaller Taylori watching him with big silver eyes. Unlike the others, who had blue skin, hers had a soft purple glow. She seemed younger, and she didn't look away when he caught her staring. General Park continued, "Captain Kim will lead our joint team. He's our best Special Forces soldier." Jae-ho stood at the front of the room. "Our mission is to check on Outpost 7. They stopped sending messages 3 days ago." The purple Taylori raised her hand. "Excuse me, Captain. What if this is the work of the Voidborn?" The room grew tense. The Voidborn were a scary enemy that few had seen and lived to talk about it. "And you are?" Jae-ho asked. "I am Neri, scientific researcher, level 3. Her voice was clear but gentle. "I study Voidborn attack patterns." Chief Mok cut in. "Neri is young and speaks out of turn. The Voidborn would not attack an Alliance outpost." Jae-ho looked at Neri with interest. "I think all ideas should be heard. Neri, you'll join my team as our Taylori expert." Mok's skin flashed with bright blue spots, a sign of anger. Jae-ho guessed. "Captain, Neri lacks experience. I can assign someone more senior." "I prefer someone who speaks their mind," Jae-ho said firmly. "Neri, meet me after for mission details." The meeting ended, and the aliens left quickly. Only Neri stayed behind, walking up to Jae-ho as he gathered his papers. "Thank you, Captain," she said. "My people don't always value new ideas." Jae-ho smiled. "Humans used to be the same. We learned to listen to different voices." He watched as her purple glow brightened. "Your skin color is different from the others." "Yes, I am. Not typical among my kind." She looked down. "Some see it as a flaw." "I think it's nice," Jae-ho said simply. He saw her glow pulse brighter at his words. A young human soldier ran up to them. "Sir, we need you in weapons. There's a problem with the new guns." "Be right there," Jae-ho said. He turned back to Neri. "We leave tomorrow at first light. Pack for a week, but be ready to stay longer." As Jae-ho walked away, Neri watched him. Humans were so different. Direct, emotional, unpredictable. The Taylori valued control and calm thinking. But there was something about this human captain that made her curious. His kind eyes didn't match his tough soldier look. Neri felt excited about the mission, but also nervous. Working closely with humans was rare for her people, and Captain Jae-ho Kim seemed especially interesting, a puzzle she wanted to solve. She didn't know their simple mission would soon change both their lives forever. The ship hummed as it flew through space. Jae-ho checked his gun one last time while his team sat ready. 6 humans and 4 Taylori made up the rescue group. Neri sat across from him, her purple skin giving a soft glow to the dark ship cabin. "We will reach Outpost 7 in 10 minutes, said the pilot over the speaker. Jae-ho stood up. "Everyone remember the plan. We go in, find any people, and get out. Stay in teams. No one goes alone." Neri watched Jae-ho with interest. Human leaders were so different from Taylori ones. He spoke to his team like they were equals, not less than him. When a young soldier looked scared, Jae-ho put a hand on his shoulder and said something that made him smile. The ship slowed down as they neared the outpost. It was built on a small moon that went around a gas giant planet. Through the window, Neri could see the outpost's lights were off. No power, Jaiho said, standing next to her. Not a good sign. The ship landed with a soft bump. Jaiho put on his helmet and checked his team's gear. He stopped at Neri. "Stay close to me," he told her. "If you see anything strange, tell me right away." Neri nodded, feeling both scared and excited. This was her first real mission. They walked out onto the moon's rocky ground. The outpost was a group of white buildings with no lights on. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. "Main building first," Jaiho said, pointing ahead. The team moved forward, weapons ready. When they reached the main door, Jaiho tried the control panel, but nothing happened. "No power here either," he said. "Min, cut it open." A human soldier stepped forward with a tool that made the door slide open. Inside was dark. They turned on their lights and stepped in. Neri gasped. The walls were marked with deep cuts. Tables and chairs were broken. But there were no bodies. "What could do this?" asked Min, his voice shaking. Neri bent down and touched a black mark on the floor. It felt cold and wrong. "Voidborn," she whispered, her purple skin dimmed with fear. Jaiho looked at her. "You're sure?" She nodded. "This is their mark. They were here." Suddenly, a loud crash came from deeper in the building. Everyone turned their weapons toward the sound. "Min, Tai, check it out," Jaiho ordered. The two soldiers moved forward slowly. A scream cut through the air, followed by gunfire. "Move," Jaiho shouted, running toward the sound. The team followed. They found Min on the floor, hurt but alive. Tai was shooting at something big and black that moved like smoke. It had no clear shape, but Neri knew what it was. "Voidborn," she shouted. "Normal guns won't stop it." The black shape moved fast toward them. Jaiho pushed Neri behind him and fired his gun. The bullets went through the shape like it was air. "Everyone back to the ship," Jaiho ordered. They ran, carrying Min. More black shapes appeared, blocking paths and forcing them to go deeper into the outpost instead of out. "This way," Jaiho pointed to a side door. They ran through it and found themselves in a lab. The door shut behind them with a bang. Something heavy hit it from the other side. "They're trying to get in," said one of the Tailori soldiers, his blue skin flashing with fear. Jaiho looked around the room. "We need another way out." Neri went to a computer and tried to turn it on. To her surprise, it had power. "Captain, look at this." The screen showed a message. "They came from below. Can't stop them. Last survivors heading to emergency ships." A loud bang made everyone jump. The door was starting to bend. "There." Jaiho pointed to another door. "Emergency exit." They ran through it and found a long hallway. At the end was a landing pad with one small ship. "Our way out," Jaiho said. The black shapes were breaking through behind them. As they ran to the ship, the floor shook. A huge crack opened between Neri and the others. Neri stopped, stuck on the wrong side. The gap was too wide to jump. The black shapes were getting closer. Without thinking, Jaiho ran back and leaped across the gap. He grabbed Neri and threw her over to the safe side. But now he was trapped. "Go," he shouted to his team. "Get her to the ship." The last thing Neri saw before being pulled away was Jaiho facing the dark shapes, gun raised, ready to fight so they could escape. "We can't leave him," Neri shouted, trying to break free from the soldiers holding her arms. "Captain's orders," said Min, his face sad but firm. "He gave us a chance to escape." They pushed her into the small ship. Through the window, Neri watched explosions light up the hallway they had just left. Jaiho had set off grenades to stop the Voidborn. The ship took off, shaking hard. Suddenly, something hit them from below. "We're hit," yelled the pilot. "Hang on." The ship spun out of control. They fell toward the planet below the moon. Nari closed her eyes, sure they would die. The ship crashed through trees and hit the ground with a terrible crash. When Nari opened her eyes, smoke filled the ship. People were moaning in pain. She helped a hurt human soldier, and they all stumbled outside. The planet had thick forests with strange purple trees. The air was hard to breathe, but not deadly. 2 humans and 1 Taylori had died in the crash. The others were hurt. "We need to find shelter," Min said, taking charge. "Night is coming." They made a camp in a cave near the crash site. Nari helped treat the wounds with medical supplies from the ship. She felt empty inside, thinking about Jao. He had saved her life, and now he was gone. 3 days passed. They tried to fix the ship's radio to call for help, but it was broken beyond repair. Food was running low. Hope was fading. On the 4th morning, Nari woke to shouting. She ran outside the cave and saw the team pointing guns at something. A figure was walking toward their camp from the forest. It was dirty and limping, but Nari knew who it was right away. "Jeho," she cried out, running to him. The human captain looked terrible. His uniform was torn. He had cuts on his face and arms, but he was alive. "How?" Min asked as they helped Jeho to the cave. "Jumped into a waste chute," Jeho said weakly. "Fell down to the planet. Been walking for days." He looked at Nari and smiled a little. "Good to see you safe." Nari felt her skin glow brighter. Among her people, such a display of feeling was shameful, but she didn't care. That night, as the others slept, Nari sat next to Jeho. "Why did you risk your life for me?" she asked. "I am just 1 Taylori." Jeho looked at her with tired eyes. "No one gets left behind. That's how humans work. My people would have chosen the logical path. The needs of many over one. That's the difference between us, I guess." Jeho coughed. "Humans follow their hearts sometimes, not just their heads." Nari touched a cut on his arm gently. "You need rest. Your body heals slower than ours. Tell me about your home," Jeho said, changing the subject. "What's it like?" Nari's glow dimmed a little. "Beautiful but cold. Everything is perfect, clean, in order. No room for those who are different." She looked down at her purple skin. "Like me. Why are you purple when the others are blue?" "A rare genetic change. Some see it as beautiful, others as a mistake." She sighed. "I was always alone, too different to fit in." Jeho was quiet for a moment. "I grew up in an orphanage in Seoul. No parents. I know what it's like to be alone." For the first time, Nari saw past the brave soldier to the human underneath. They were more alike than different. Days turned into weeks. The team survived by working together. Jeho taught them to find food and water. Nari used her knowledge of plants to find safe ones to eat. At night, they took turns keeping watch. During these quiet times, Jeho and Nari talked more about their worlds, their lives, their dreams. "If we get back," Nari said one night, her glow soft in the darkness, "what will you do?" "Keep serving, I guess," Jeho said. "It's all I know." "Don't you want a family? A home?" Jeho looked at the stars. "Hard to have those things in my line of work." He turned to her. "What about you?" "I want to explore," she said. "See everything. Learn everything." She paused. "And maybe find somewhere I belong." In the quiet of the night, something was growing between them. Something neither one of them had words for yet. A month had passed on the strange planet. The team had built better shelters near a clean stream. They had learned which plants were safe to eat. Life was hard, but they were surviving. One morning, Jeho was teaching Nari how to fish using a spear he had made. She stood in the shallow water, trying to copy his movements. "Be patient," Jeho said. "Wait for the fish to come to you." Nari's purple skin glowed with frustration. Taylori are not known for patience in physical tasks. Jeho laughed. It was a sound Neri had come to enjoy. In the past weeks, she had seen him change from a serious soldier to a more relaxed man. His smile came more often now. Suddenly, Neri felt something strange, a cold feeling in her mind. She dropped the spear. "What's wrong?" Jaiho asked, seeing her face change. Something is coming." Her voice shook. "I can feel it." Jaiho didn't question her. He grabbed her hand, and they ran back to camp. The others were already on alert. "Movement in the trees to the north," Min reported. Jaiho grabbed his gun. "How many?" "Can't tell. They move like shadows." Nari's skin had dimmed to a pale lavender. "Voidborn, they found us." Jaiho turned to the group. "Pack only what you need. We move in 5 minutes." He looked at Nari. "Can you tell how many there are?" She closed her eyes. The cold feeling was stronger now. "Many. At least 10, maybe more." They moved quickly, heading south toward the mountains. Jaiho led the way with Nari close behind him. The others followed in a line. They walked all day, stopping only for short rests. As night fell, they found a small cave to hide in. "We can't keep running forever," Min said as they ate a cold meal. "We need to find a way to fight them." Jaiho agreed. "But how? Our guns barely slow them down." Nari had been quiet. Now she spoke. "I might be able to sense them before they attack. My people have some mental abilities. I'm starting to feel the Voidborn in my mind." Jaiho looked at her with concern. "Is that dangerous for you?" "Maybe, but it could help us survive." That night, the Voidborn attacked. They came without sound, black shapes in the darkness, but Neri felt them coming and warned the others. The fight was chaos. Guns fired. People shouted. The Voidborn moved like liquid shadows, hard to hit. "They're trying to separate us." Jaiho shouted. "Stay together." But the plan failed. A Voidborn knocked Min down. Another grabbed a Taylori soldier and pulled him into the darkness. His screams stopped suddenly. "Run," Jaiho ordered. "Everyone run." The group scattered. Jaiho grabbed Nari's hand, and they ran into the forest. Behind them, the sounds of fighting continued. Then silence, which was worse. They ran until Nari couldn't run anymore. They stopped by a fallen tree, breathing hard. "The others?" Nari asked between breaths. Jaiho shook his head. "I don't know." For 3 days, they moved through the forest alone. No sign of their friends. No sign of rescue. Just the constant feeling that they were being hunted. On the 4th day, they reached a river. The water was too fast and deep to cross. They followed it upstream, looking for a safe place. "Look," Nari pointed to smoke rising in the distance. "Could it be the others?" Jaiho frowned. "Or a trap. We should be careful." As they moved closer, Nari felt the cold feeling again. "Jaiho, they're close." A black shape rose from the ground in front of them. Jaiho pushed Nari back and fired his gun. The Voidborn jerked but kept coming. They turned to run, but more shapes appeared behind them. They were trapped. "The river," Jaiho said. "It's our only chance." They ran to the edge. The water rushed by, full of rocks and rapids. "Can you swim?" Jaiho asked. "Not well," Nari admitted, her skin pale with fear. Jaiho took her hand. "Trust me, don't let go." More Voidborn were coming. Jaiho looked at Nari. In that moment, she saw something in his eyes, something that made her feel warm despite her fear. "Together," he said. They jumped into the rushing water, still holding hands. The cold hit them like a shock. The current pulled them under, then pushed them up. They were swept away, the shore moving past quickly. The last thing Nari saw before the water took them around a bend was the Voidborn standing at the edge, unable to follow. The river carried Jaiho and Nari for miles before they managed to reach the shore. Wet, cold, and tired, they pulled themselves onto a rocky beach. Jaiho had held onto Nari the whole time. keeping her head above water when the current tried to pull her down. "Are you okay?" Jai-ho asked, checking her for injuries. Nari coughed up water, but nodded. Her purple skin was very dim now, almost gray. "I'm alive. Thanks to you." They rested for a while, then started walking again. The land was changing. The forest was thinning, and big rock formations rose around them. After hours of walking, they found a deep cave to shelter in. "We should be safe here for now," Jai-ho said, looking around. "I don't think the Voidborn followed us down the river." Nari sat down, her body shaking slightly. "Jai-ho, I need to tell you something." He sat next to her, concerned by her serious tone. "What is it?" "The Voidborn. I can feel them more clearly now. It's like they're speaking to me in my mind." She touched her head. "It hurts, but I can understand some of it." Jai-ho frowned. "Is that why your skin is so dim? Are they hurting you?" "No, it's just using a lot of my energy." She looked into his eyes. "They're not just attacking randomly. They're looking for something. Something important." Before Jai-ho could ask more, a strange light caught his eye. At the back of the cave, a wall seemed to glow faintly. "What's that?" he asked, standing up. They walked deeper into the cave. The glow became stronger. It wasn't natural. The wall had symbols carved into it, and they were giving off light. "These are old," Nari said, touching the symbols. "Very old." As her fingers touched the wall, the glow became brighter. The whole wall lit up. Then, to their surprise, it slid open, revealing a hidden passage. "Should we go in?" Jai-ho asked, his hand on his gun. Nari nodded. "I think we need to see what's inside." The passage led to a large room filled with strange machines. Everything was covered in dust, but some lights still blinked on the machines. In the center of the room was a round table with a device on top. "This isn't Taylori technology," Nari said, looking around in wonder. "And it's not human either. This is much older." Jai-ho touched the device on the table. It came to life, projecting a 3D image above it. The image showed star systems, planets, and what looked like ships moving between them. "It's a map," Nari said. She touched the image, and it changed, showing different stars. "These civilizations, I've never heard of them." She touched another part, and a new image appeared. It showed dark shapes that looked just like the Voidborn. But they weren't attacking. They were in rows, like soldiers waiting for orders. "Jai-ho," Nari's voice was quiet with shock. "The Voidborn weren't always monsters. They were made, created as weapons by an ancient race." Jai-ho stared at the image. "You mean someone built them to attack other species?" "Yes." Nari moved through more images. "This race, they called themselves the Shapers. They made the Voidborn to fight their wars, but something went wrong." The next image showed planets burning, whole civilizations falling. "The Voidborn turned on them," Nari continued. "They destroyed their creators. And then they kept going, attacking all intelligent life they found." Jai-ho walked around the table, taking it all in. "So they're not just mindless killers. They're following their programming. Destroy all intelligent life. And they've been doing it for thousands of years." Nari looked at Jai-ho with fear in her eyes. "The Alliance doesn't understand what they're facing. The Voidborn won't stop until every intelligent species is gone." Jai-ho sat down heavily. "We need to get this information back to the Alliance. It could change everything." Nari touched another part of the map. A new image showed the planet they were on. "This place, it was a Shaper base. That's why the Voidborn came here. They're looking for something." "For what?" Jai-ho asked. Before Nari could answer, she gasped and fell to her knees. Her skin flashed bright purple, then faded to almost white. "Nari." Jai-ho rushed to her side. "What's happening?" "They know we're here," she whispered. "The Voidborn. They can feel me looking at their secrets." She grabbed Jai-Ho's hand tightly. "They're coming for us. All of them." Jai-Ho helped Nari to her feet. "We need to leave now," he said. "Can you walk?" Nari nodded weakly. Her skin was still very pale. "The machine," she pointed. "We need to take the memory core. It has all the information." Jai-Ho quickly found the small round object at the base of the device. He pulled it out and put it in his pocket. Then he helped Nari toward the exit. They had just reached the cave entrance when they heard a sound they hadn't heard in months. A ship engine. "Look!" Nari pointed to the sky. A large Alliance rescue ship was coming down through the clouds. Jai-Ho couldn't believe it. "How did they find us?" "The ancient machines," Nari said. "When we activated them, they must have sent out a signal." Relief washed over Jai-Ho's face, but it quickly changed to worry. "The Voidborn are coming too. It's going to be a race." They ran as fast as they could toward an open area where the ship could land. Nari was still weak, and Jai-Ho had to support her. Behind them, they could feel the cold presence of the Voidborn getting closer. The ship landed in a clearing ahead. The door opened, and soldiers ran out. Jai-Ho recognized the Alliance uniform. "Here," he shouted, waving his arm. "Over here." The soldiers spotted them and ran toward them. Among them was Min, alive after all. "Captain," Min called. "We thought you were dead." "Almost," Jai-Ho said as they reached the soldiers. "The Voidborn are right behind us. We need to get out of here now." They hurried toward the ship. Just as they reached it, black shapes appeared at the edge of the clearing. The Voidborn had found them. "Everyone on board," shouted the rescue team leader. "Now." They rushed inside the ship. Jai-Ho made sure Nari got in safely before he boarded. The door closed behind them, and the ship started to lift off. Nari collapsed into a seat. Medical staff came to check her right away. Jai-Ho sat next to her, holding her hand. "We made it," he said, smiling at her. Nari tried to smile back, but she looked worried. "Jai-Ho, when we get back to the Alliance." Before she could finish, a Taylori officer approached them. He looked at Nari with cold eyes. "Researcher Nari, you will come with me now," he said firmly. Jai-Ho stood up. "She needs medical help." "Our doctors will attend to her," the officer said. He turned to Nari. "Chief Mok has ordered you to be kept separate from the humans." Nari's skin flickered with fear. "But I need to report what we found." "The Voidborn." "All reports will go through proper channels." The officer cut her off. He nodded to two Taylori guards who took Nari by the arms. Jai-Ho stepped forward. "Wait, she's part of my team." The officer looked at him with cold eyes. "This is a Taylori matter, Captain. Your authority does not apply." Nari looked back at Jai-Ho as they led her away. Her eyes were filled with sadness and fear. For the rest of the journey, Jai-Ho was kept away from Nari. The ship docked at a large Alliance station. As they disembarked, Jai-Ho saw Nari being led away by a group of Taylori officials. "What's going on?" Jai-Ho asked Min. "Why are they separating us?" Min looked uncomfortable. "There are rumors, Captain. The Taylori Council is saying the mission was a failure because humans were in charge. They're using it as an excuse to pull back from working with us." Jai-Ho frowned. "We found vital information about the Voidborn. They're more dangerous than anyone knew." "I believe you," Min said. "But the Taylori leadership doesn't want to hear it. They're saying the Voidborn are just animals, not a real threat." Jai-Ho felt angry. "That's not true. Nari and I found proof." He reached into his pocket for the memory core, but it was gone. Somehow during the rescue, it had disappeared. Later, Jai-Ho was called to a meeting with human military leaders. He told them everything about the Voidborn, but without the memory core, they didn't fully believe him. "We'll investigate your claims, Captain," said General Park, "but without evidence." That night, Jai-Ho couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Nari. Where was she? Was she okay? Did she still have the memory core? His computer beeped. A message had arrived. It was coded in a special way that only someone who had been on their mission would understand. The message was from Neri. They won't listen. They're sending me away. Meet me at Docking Bay 7 tomorrow at midnight. I need your help. Jai-Ho moved quietly through the dark hallways of the station. It was almost midnight. Most people were asleep, making it easier for him to avoid being seen. He wore normal clothes instead of his uniform to attract less attention. When he reached Docking Bay 7, he looked around carefully. The large room was filled with small ships. The lights were low. At first, he didn't see anyone. Neri, he called softly. A slight movement caught his eye. From behind a stack of boxes, Neri appeared. Her purple skin was so dim it was almost gray. She looked tired and afraid. Jai-Ho, she said, rushing to him. Without thinking, she threw her arms around him. Jai-Ho hugged her back, surprised but happy to see her. Are you okay? What happened? Neri stepped back. They're sending me away. The Taylori Council wants to hide the truth about the Voidborn. Why would they do that? Politics. Neri's face showed disgust. If everyone knew how dangerous the Voidborn really are, the Alliance would need to work together to fight them. The Taylori leaders don't want that. They think they're better off alone. Jai-Ho frowned. That's crazy. No one species can fight the Voidborn alone. I know. Neri reached into her pocket and pulled out the memory core. I took this before they could find it. Jai-Ho's eyes widened. You have it. We need to show this to people who will listen. That's why I called you. Neri looked around nervously. I'm supposed to leave on a ship tomorrow morning. They're sending me to a research post far away from here, but I can't go. Not when I know the truth. Jai-Ho thought for a moment. We need to get this information to both human and Taylori leaders, people who will actually do something about it. How? The council won't listen to me. I'm just a low-level researcher, and they certainly won't listen to a human. Then we'll make everyone listen. Jai-Ho had an idea. The Alliance Communication Center. It sends messages to every part of Alliance space. If we can broadcast the information from the memory core. Neri's skin brightened a little. It could work, but that area is heavily guarded. I'm a Special Forces captain, Jai-Ho said with a small smile. Getting past guards is what I do. They made their plan quickly. The communication center was in the middle of the station. They would need to be careful, but with Jai-Ho's military training and Neri's knowledge of Taylori systems, they had a chance. As they moved through the station, Jai-Ho noticed Neri seemed weak. Are you sure you're okay? He asked. Neri nodded. The connection with the Voidborn, it takes a lot of energy. And the Taylori doctors, they did tests on me. Many tests. Anger flashed across Jai-Ho's face. They had no right to treat you that way. To them, I'm just a tool, a way to understand the Voidborn. She looked at Jai-Ho. You're the only one who sees me as a person. They reached the communication center. 2 guards stood at the door. Wait here, Jai-Ho whispered. He walked up to the guards confidently. Captain Kim, special assignment from General Park. Need to send an urgent message. The guards looked doubtful. We don't have any orders about this. It's classified. Call the general if you want, but he won't be happy about being woken up. Jai-Ho stared them down. The guards looked at each other, then stepped aside. Make it quick, Captain. Once inside, Jai-Ho signaled Neri to join him. She slipped in while the guards were distracted by another station worker. Neri went straight to the main control panel. I need to connect the memory core. It will only take a minute. As she worked, an alarm suddenly rang out. A voice came over the station speakers. Alert. Security breach in Sector 4. All personnel on high alert. Jai-Ho looked at Neri. They know you're missing. Mok's face twisted with rage. Neri, you have committed treason against the Taylori. The punishment is exile. You will never return to your homeworld. Neri stood tall next to Jai-Ho. I choose truth over loyalty, to those who would hide it. The guards moved forward to arrest them. Jiho prepared to fight. But suddenly, the station shook violently. An emergency signal blared. Alert! Unknown vessels approaching. All personnel to battle stations. The main screen changed to show space outside the station. Several dark shapes were moving toward them. Shapes that looked like liquid shadow. Voidborn ships, Nari whispered in horror. Mock's anger turned to fear. Impossible. They can't be here. They followed us. Jiho realized. They followed our rescue ship. The station shook again as the first attacks hit. The Voidborn had found them. Almost done, Neri said, her fingers moving quickly on the panel. The memory core glowed as it connected to the system. The door opened, and Chief Mock walked in with 4 Telori guards. His blue skin flashed with anger. "Stop what you're doing immediately," he ordered. Jiho stepped between Mock and Neri. "She's showing you the truth. The Voidborn are weapons created to destroy all intelligent life. If we don't work together, we'll all die." "Lies," Mock said coldly. "Human lies to gain power in the Alliance." "It's done," Neri said. The memory core had connected. Screens around the room began showing the ancient images they had found. The truth about the Voidborn was now broadcasting to the entire Alliance. The station shook again. Lights flickered. People ran through the halls in panic. "We need to get to the command center," Jiho said, taking charge. "Chief Mock, you can arrest us later. Right now, we need to focus on the Voidborn." Mock hesitated, then nodded. "Follow me." They ran through the station to the command center. Inside, Alliance leaders were gathered around screens showing the attack. Several Voidborn ships surrounded the station. They were like giant shadows moving through space. General Park saw Jiho and walked over quickly. "Captain Kim, what do you know about these things?" "Sir, this is Neri," Jiho said. "She can help us. She understands the Voidborn better than anyone." General Park looked at Neri. "Can you tell us how to fight them?" Neri stepped forward. "Normal weapons have little effect. Their ships are like their bodies, partly solid, partly energy. But they have a weakness." She went to a control panel and pulled up the information from the memory core. The Shapers built in a failsafe, a specific energy frequency that disrupts their form. "Can we use it?" the general asked. "Yes," Neri said, "but we need to modify the station's defense system." General Park turned to his team. "Give her whatever she needs." Chief Mock started to object, but another blast hit the station. A section of the map turned red. "Level 4 has been breached," reported an officer. "Voidborn are entering the station. We need more time," Neri said, working quickly at the panel. Jiho turned to General Park. "Sir, I request permission to lead a team to slow them down." The general nodded. "Granted, take whoever you need." Jiho gathered a group of soldiers, both human and Telori. "The Voidborn are entering through level 4. We need to hold them back while Neri finishes the modifications." Min stepped forward. "I'm with you, Captain." They moved to level 4, setting up defensive positions. Jiho looked at the mixed team. "Regular weapons won't stop them, but they can slow them down. Aim for the center of their mass, and stay together. They try to separate us." The first Voidborn appeared at the end of the hall. It moved like black smoke but had a solid core. Behind it came more. "Fire," Jiho ordered. The battle was hard. The Voidborn kept coming. Some soldiers fell. The defense line had to move back several times. Jiho fought at the front, showing both courage and smart tactics. Over the radio, Nari's voice came through. "Jiho, we're almost ready. Just a few more minutes." "Understood," he replied. "We'll hold them as long as we can." A massive Voidborn, bigger than the others, pushed through. It moved straight toward Jiho. Before he could react, it knocked him down. His gun slid away. The Voidborn loomed over him. Jiho could feel its cold energy. It raised what looked like an arm, ready to strike. Suddenly, Min jumped between them, firing his gun. The Voidborn turned on him instead. It wrapped around Min, who screamed in pain. Jaiho grabbed his gun and fired at the Voidborn center. It released Min, who fell to the floor, not moving. Anger filled Jaiho. He kept firing, driving the Voidborn back, but more kept coming. Jaiho. Nari's voice came over the radio. It's ready. Get your team out of there now. Everyone fall back. Jaiho ordered. He grabbed Min's body, refusing to leave him behind. The team moved quickly to the safety doors. Once they were through, the doors sealed shut. Jaiho laid Min down gently. His friend was gone. In the command center, Nari activated the modified defense system. Energy waves pulsed from the station. On the screens, they could see the Voidborn ships shudder and then start to break apart. It's working, someone shouted. Inside the station, the Voidborn that had entered began to dissolve. Their black forms lost shape and faded away. Jaiho returned to the command center. His uniform was torn and bloody. When Nari saw him, she ran to him. "You're hurt," she said, touching a cut on his face. "I'll be okay," he said. Min didn't make it. Sadness crossed Nari's face. "I'm sorry." Around them, Alliance leaders were watching the screens in amazement as the Voidborn ships disappeared. General Park approached them. "You two saved the station. Saved all of us." Chief Mok was watching from across the room. His face showed a mix of emotions. He walked over slowly. "The broadcast you sent," he said to Nari. "It reached all Alliance worlds. Everyone now knows the truth about the Voidborn." Nari stood straight. "Will you still exile me for telling the truth?" Mok looked uncomfortable. "The Council is reconsidering, but your actions broke our laws, no matter the reason." Jaiho stepped forward. "Then I request asylum for Nari on Earth. Under Alliance law, she has that right." Mok's skin flashed with surprise. "You would take her to Earth? A Taylori has never lived among humans." "She saved your life," Jaiho said firmly. "She saved everyone. She deserves to choose her own path." General Park nodded. "The request is granted, unless the Taylori Council objects." All eyes turned to Mok. After a long moment, he said, "The Council will not object." Nari's skin glowed brighter than Jaiho had ever seen it. She looked at him with eyes full of emotion. "Thank you," she whispered. In that moment, surrounded by the aftermath of battle, something unspoken passed between the human soldier and the alien scientist. A promise. A beginning. 1 week after the Voidborn attack, the Alliance held a special meeting. Leaders from all member species gathered in the Great Hall of the station. The room was large with tall windows showing the stars outside. Guards stood at every door. Jaiho sat in the front row wearing his formal uniform with new medals. The cuts on his face were healing. Next to him sat other heroes from the battle. Many people had died, but many more had been saved. At the center of the room was a long table where the most important leaders sat. Among them was Chief Mok, his blue skin glowing steadily. Next to him sat 3 other Taylori with serious faces. "We are here to discuss the Voidborn threat," said the Alliance president. "Thanks to the information provided by Captain Jaiho Kim and researcher Nari, we now understand our enemy." Jaiho looked around but didn't see Nari. She had been kept in a separate room before the meeting. The president continued, "The Taylori Council has a statement to make." Chief Mok stood. "The Taylori people admit we were wrong about the Voidborn. We thank Captain Kim and researcher Nari for their brave actions." He paused. "However, Nari broke our laws by sharing secret information without permission. She must face the consequences." Jaiho felt his heart sink. He had hoped the Taylori would change their minds. "Bring in researcher Nari," Mok ordered. The doors opened, and Nari walked in. Her purple skin glowed softly. She wore formal Taylori clothes and walked with her head high. Jaiho thought she looked beautiful and brave. When she reached the center of the room, Nari bowed to the leaders. "I accept whatever punishment my people decide," she said clearly. "I only ask that you continue to work together against the Voidborn." Mok looked at her for a long moment. "Nari, for your actions against our laws, you are hereby removed from your position as a researcher." Whispers filled the room. Jiho stood up, ready to object. However, Mok continued, raising his hand for silence. "In light of your service to the Alliance, we offer you a choice. You may return to Taylor and serve in a different role. Or," he looked at Jiho, "you may accept the human offer of asylum on Earth." The room went quiet. Everyone looked at Nari. This was a big moment in Alliance history. No Taylori had ever chosen to live on another species' world. Nari took a deep breath. She turned and looked directly at Jiho. Their eyes met across the room. In that moment, they both remembered everything they had been through together. The battles, the fear, the trust that had grown between them. "I thank the Council for its mercy," Nari said, turning back to Mok. "But my decision was made long ago." She walked away from the Taylori side of the room and moved to stand next to Jiho. The crowd gasped. "My home is no longer among the stars of Taylor," she said in a clear voice that carried through the hall. "My home is by this human side." Jiho's face showed surprise, then happiness. He stood and took her hand. Mok looked shocked, but he nodded slowly. "So be it." The president spoke again. "This is a historic day. Not just because we now understand the Voidborn threat, but because we see a new kind of bond between our peoples." After the meeting, Jiho and Nari walked through the station together. People stopped to look at them, the human soldier and the purple-skinned Taylori. "Are you sure about this?" Jiho asked quietly. "Earth is very different from your world." Nari's skin glowed brightly. "I've never been more sure of anything. On Taylor, I was always different, always alone." She squeezed his hand. "With you, I found something I never had before. Acceptance, understanding. What about your people, your family?" "My choice may open a door for others," she said. "And as for family," she looked at him with soft eyes, "perhaps I will find a new one." 2 days later, they stood at the viewing window of a ship bound for Earth. The station grew smaller behind them. Ahead lay a blue planet, Jiho's home. "It's beautiful," Nari said, looking at Earth. "It's not perfect," Jiho warned. "Humans still have many problems." "All worlds do," Nari said wisely. "But it's not the place that matters. It's the people." She turned to look at him. One person, in particular. Jiho smiled and put his arm around her shoulders. Together they watched as the ship carried them toward Earth, toward their new beginning. Behind them, among the stars, the Alliance prepared for the fight against the Voidborn. But that was a story for another day. Today was about a human soldier and an alien girl who had found each other against all odds and refused to let go.